So next speaker is Mr. Sujit Gulhane. He is assistant professor at Center of Textile Functions, SVKMs, NIMS Shirpur. He has 10 years of teaching experience in textiles and he did his MTech from IIT Delhi. He has about 50 publications and delivered around 25 talks in conferences. His area of interest are geotextiles, yarn manufacturing, and technical textiles. So I request Sujit to unmute because I'm not able to find out his name. Yes, Sujit.
Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, sir.
Yes, Sujit. And Sujit's Professor Arup Rakshit is also with us. He is Associate Dean at NIMS University. We also welcome him for joining us for this FDP. Now, Sujit, you can share your slides.
Yes, good afternoon, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank Sir for inviting me, giving me this wonderful opportunity to share my knowledge, share my experience with the textile faculties from all over India. I'm equally thankful to our Associate Dean, Dr. Agro Textiles, sir, to allow me to do this expert session in this FDP program. As I got very less time to actually prepare this session and come across for this presentation, but still I have tried my best, and I assure you that you will get something from this presentation that you have not heard or you have not experienced before. That I am sure. Let us start with the session. So I am from SVKM's NMRMS. We have our is a deemed university and it has campuses situated all over India in 7 metro cities. One of the campuses is in our place, Shirpur. Here we have different schools. One of them is Center for Textile Functions. Sir have already introduced me and the topic. Today I am going to speak about the agro textiles and its emerging applications. These are some contents. I will be going with basics of agro textiles for a short period. Later on, I will move towards the emerging fields. So we will be going through the basics for a very short duration, and later on we will go in depth of the emerging applications of agro textiles. Let us see what exactly agro-textile means. The technical textiles which are used in the field of agricultural applications for the functional benefits or functional properties. So we have seen in our area various types of agro-textile applications. Most of the time, these agro-textiles are used, or we can say classified in application-wise in agriculture, horticulture, animal husbandry. In some literature, we found agro-textiles include the fishing nets also. These are some common examples of agro-textiles: Shaed Nets, Mulch mat, crop covers, anti-heel nets, and fishing nets also. Now, let us discuss about the need of agro-textiles. Day by day, the population of a world, or we can say India, our own country, is increasing. So the demand of agricultural product is also get increased day by day. And on the other hand, we have limited resources like land, water, energy. These resources are limited, not only limited, but if we see the land for cultivation, it is get reduced day by day due to the urbanization. Now, on the other hand side, we have increased demand in the quality of agro-textile products. This is due to, just a minute. Yeah, this is due to the you can say increase in standard of living. Our expectations from the agro-textile products, they are increased day by day. So the agro-textile products which are being conventionally consumed are not consumed in today's scenario. So we have to improve the quality of agro-textile agricultural products. Then we have many ecological problems. Sometimes rain may come, sometimes rain may not come. So we need to find out the way for the sustainable agricultural activities. So where we can get the help of agro-textiles. What agro-textiles actually help us, or what agro-textile will do in agricultural activities? It can control climate. So we can control the farming temperature, we can control the farming light, even wind, air. So this kind of control on climatic conditions we can have with the help of agro-textiles. Then ecological degradation. We can control ecological degradation. We can use water efficiently. If we see the example of mulch mat, there we can use water efficiently. There will not be loss of water due to the evaporation. Means the loss will be there, but the quantity of loss due to evaporation can be reduced. Reduce herbicides. We do not need to use this kind of herbicides if we use the mulch mats. They do not allow the they reduce the growth of the herbicides. We can save energy. We can improve product quality. And most important things are the regional limitations. Earlier we used to found the fruits, many type of fruits or many type of flowers, they are grown in particular areas. So this is called as regional limitation. Nowadays, the regional limitations are overcome with the help of these agro-textiles. Then another side is seasonal limitation. There are some fruits or flowers which came in particular season. Nowadays, we can have that type of fruits for a wider time duration. Suppose earlier we used to have that fruits for 3 months. Now we can get that fruit even 6 to 8 months also. This type of seasonal limitations are controlled or reduced with the help of agro-textiles. Now, let us have a look over the different forms of agro-textiles. If we see the fibers, we can use natural fibers where it includes jute, wool. In case of man-made, we can use polyethylene, polypropylene. In the form of types, we can use hollow filament yarn, we can use flat tape yarn, we can also use monofilament yarn. And these yarns are converted in the form of fabrics like nets, sheets, woven fabrics, non-woven fabrics, knitted fabrics, or we can even make the coated composites also. Now let us move towards the application of agro-textiles. We will go rapidly over the conventional applications of agro-textiles, then we will go in depth in the emerging fields of agro-textiles. This is the Shaed nets. Shaed nets, we can see these Shaed nets are used to control the intensity of light. We can thereby control the growth of our plant. There are some plants, or you can say small plants, which are not able to sustain the higher amount of light. So in that case, we can use this kind of Shaed nets, which are used to control the intensity of light. And these Shaed nets are available in market with different shading factors. Here we have mentioned 15 to 90% shading percentage. If the intensity of light in our region is very high and the light requirement of a plant is very, very low, so in that case, we will go with the 90% shading factor. If the intensity of light is, we can say, a little bit high and plant can also sustain, so we will go with the 15% shading factor. So we can choose the shading percentage as per the requirement of sunlight by the plant and the availability of sunlight in that particular area. Then the filaments which are particularly used for the shade nets are polyethylene and polypropylene. And these filaments are UV treated to avoid the damage by the UV lights. Apart from these shading, these shade nets will also help us to control on the temperature, control on wind, to control on rain and hail also. Another type of product is net for protection from birds. In this picture, we can see the bird is sitting on a net, but that bird is not approachable to the fruits which are grown inside the net. So in this way, we can prevent our fruits from the birds. So the majority of fruits are get protected with the help of these nets are grapes, guava, pomegranate. These fruit nets are made, fruit protection nets are made with polypropylene and high density polyethylene monofilament yarn. Particularly, we use open structure. The open structure will avoid the damage of fruits by the birds, and at the same time, it will avoid the restriction of sunlight to come in contact with fruits. Another type of agro-textile product is harvesting nets. These harvesting nets are used to harvest a fruit without damage, or we can say harvesting nets are used to collect the fruits we can say more rapidly without using more manpower. So here we can reduce the manpower requirement for the harvesting. At the same time, fruits are collected without damage. So the quality of fruits are also get improved with this kind of harvesting nets. They are particularly being used for apples, orchid, mango, pomegranate, etc. Now, another type is anti-heel nets. In this picture, we can see the ice cubes or ice cubes are fall or collected on the surface of net. If these ice come in contact with the plants, it will damage entire plant and entire farm. So we need to get protected from such kind of hazardous hailing conditions. So there we can use these anti-hail nets. These anti-hail nets are made up of high density polyethylene yarn in the form of nets or even in woven fabric form. They will give us the required protection. Next is the mulcha mat. Mulcha mat, or we can say ground cover. The function of these mulcha mats or ground cover is to prevent the soil moisture, soil nutrients, and allow the growth of the agricultural plant with a rapid rate. The standard mulcha mat need to be manufactured with the non-woven fabric, but most of the time, or in our country, most of the mulcha sheets are used in place of non-woven fabrics, which are made from PET, polyethylene. They will also give the same function as mulcha mats will give. The difference is that these mulcha mats are, we can say, less harmful to environment as compared to mulcha sheets. Another example is a windshield. So when we thought about farming in an area where the intensity of wind is very, very high, in that case, the farming will become difficult, particularly for flowers or we can say small plants, where that plants are get damaged due to the heavy wind. There we can use such kind of windshields and get protection from the heavy wind to our plants. Here we have a little bit, we can say, interesting example of agro textile. It is a root ball net. In nursery, even today, the small plants are grown in the plastic pouches, where the roots of the plant will move at the edges of the plastic packages. Suppose this is a plastic pouch, and in plastic pouch, when the plant are grown, the roots of a plant are grown more at the edges. at this surface, at the edges. Now, if we go for plantation of such small crops in a farm, these roots are get damaged during plantation. And due to the damages to the root, the growth of that plant is hampered for a certain period of time, say 7 to 10 days. Now, these 7 to 10 days are completely waste because of damage of roots. Instead of that, if we go with this kind of root ball nets, and this is a root ball net, the roots of a plant will grow at the center because the amount of moisture present at the center is more as compared to the surrounding. So we will not have that kind of harm to the roots while plantation. So that is the advantage of root ball nets. The requirement of root ball net is that it should be biodegradable. Whenever we will go for plantation inside the soil, it should get degraded inside the soil. Degraded. So here in this picture, we can see the various types of root ball nets. The root ball nets, along with the jute fabric or non-woven fabrics, can also be used. Sir, my voice and screen is visible. Is it okay? Hello. Hello. I got a message on my screen that internet connectivity is a little bit low. That's why I'm cross-checking it.
Yes, Sujit, what happened?
Okay. Let us move ahead. In this picture, we can see the polyester non-woven fabrics, which are used to grow a plant. Now, this kind of non-woven fabric bags can be used if we want to prevent our plant from the excessive water. If we have a large quantity of water in our farm, and that water may damage to the farming activity. In such cases, we can use this kind of polyester non-woven bags, and we can cultivate our plants inside the bags. Excessive water will not harm to our bags, harm to our plants due to this kind of surrounding. Now, meshes for protection from insects. We can use nets for the protection from insects. So most of the time, these insects are harmful to our farming products. So we need protection from them. And on the other hand, sometimes these insects are useful for farming, for say for the pollination. If these insects are more in our region, we get more pollination, and because of more pollination, the amount of fruit yield in that farm is more. So we will keep that insect in close contact with our plants with the help of this kind of meshes. These meshes are generally made up of monofilament yarn. They are very fine, used to prevent the movement of insect from outside to outside, outside to inside, and sometimes from inside to outside. Here we can see crop and plant covers. These crop and plant covers are used to create a micro-controlled climatic environment wherein our plants can grow themselves with a controlled manner. As per our requirement, we can control the growth of our plants inside the plant covers. In this picture, we can see the fruit covers. Nowadays, this trend is become very, very popular. most of the fruits like grapes, pomegranate, banana, papaya, all of them are covered with the non-woven fabrics. The motto behind covering these fabrics to our fruits is to control the growth of these fruits. For example, say we said we are controlling the seasonal limitation. Now, the season for grapes is of 3 months. So in these 3 months, all the grapes are get ripened and they are sold in the market. If the grapes are not sold, they get waste or they get damaged, or we need to sell it in a lower cost or lower price. Now, these kind of fabrics are used to control the growth. So thereby we can control the we can say ripening of grapes in a sequence. If we have a farm of say 10 acres, so we will allow the growth of only 1 acre grapes, and once the grapes in that particular acre are get sold out, we will allow the growing of another 1 acre plants. So likewise, the growing period, or you can say the life cycle of these fruits, are get controlled with the help of these fabric which are used to cover the fruits. Now, the another example is Tuft or reinforcement net. These nets are extruded sheets, or sometimes these nets are knitted fabrics with the high density polyethylene yarns. They are sprayed over the ground. After spreading over the ground, the roots of you can say grass or the small plants are intertwined with these nets and become these nets will become a strong reinforcement structure for the growth of that small plants. So these reinforcement nets will support these grass. When suppose we have a movement of animals on a ground, or we can say movement of human beings on a ground, at that time, if we have a soft ground, that grass are get pulled out and we have a permanent damage to the we can say ground where the growth of plants are get restricted. Now, if we use this kind of reinforcement net, even though there is a movement of animal or human beings, the roots will hold inside the reinforcement net, and it will not get come out along with the legs of animals or human beings. So the growth of grass is continuous, and we do not need to go for the recultivation of grass at that point. Suppose we have a farm and we have chosen this area for the grass cultivation, and if the animals move in this way, so the entire location will become grassless because of movement of the animals. But if we use this kind of crops, the movement of the animals will not damage the growth of grass, because the nets are used to support the roots of a grass, which can grow within a short time. Now, another type of the agro-textile product is a cold and frost control fabrics. These cold and frost control fabrics allow us to go for farming in a very cold region where the atmospheric temperature is in -degrees. What these fabrics will do actually, they will prevent the internal heat and create an atmosphere where the farming activities are possible. Like in our protective textiles, we used to have thermal wears made up of several layers of a fabric. These cold and frost control fabrics are made with the same concept, and they will give required prevention from the very cold air, or we can say flash of cold air, and allow us the growth of plants. And obviously they will remain durable for a number of seasons. Here we can see the use of textiles in hyper farming, or we also call it as a vertical farming, where textile materials are used for the we can say cultivation of plants instead of soil. In conventional farming, or even today, we use soil for the germination of these seeds. Now, here in this picture, we can see seeds are placed on the fabrics, where that seeds are germinated and converted into a plant with the help of these fabrics. And these fabrics are replaceable to the soil when the plants are plants height, or we can say the size of plants are small. With this type of application, we can control on the requirement of water. Around 90% of water can be saved. We can also save the nutrients which are supplied to the plant for the effective growth. Entire nutrients will be utilized by our plants. In earlier cases, most of the nutrients are we can say remain inside the soil, whereas in this type of farming, the nutrients are entirely occupied or picked up by the plants for its effective growth. Now here we can see one more emerging application of agrotextile, that is a seaweed harvesting. What is seaweed harvesting? In seaweed harvesting, we used to harvest the seaweeds, which seaweeds, these are the plants, or we can say small creepers, which are grown inside the sea. And these seaweeds are very useful for medical application. And another application is fooding, or we can say feed ingredients. If we think upon giving this seaweed to our animals as a food, they are very best. Seaweeds can also be used as a biofuel. Most of the countries like China, Japan, Korea, they are growing seaweeds for biochemicals as well. In this picture, we can see scuba diver is present in between the two seaweed fabrics, where the seaweeds are grown. In this application, textile material will help us not only for harvesting, but also for the cultivation of seaweed inside the sea. Another type is agricultural belting. Now, if we see, most of the fruits are larger in size, they are heavier, and it requires lots of manpower to harvest them. Now, instead of harvesting them with manually, we can use large belts, which are called as harvesting belts, and these harvesting belts are used for collecting these fruits and storing it in a vehicle. This is the simple example of agricultural belting. We can use various types of belts in harvesting, or we can say in cropping of plants also we can use harvesting belts. Then aquaculture liners. Textile materials which are non-permeable, they can be used as a liner for aquaculture. They will prevent the loss of water inside the soil due to its non-permeability behavior. There are many fabrics which are manufactured for this type of activity, particularly tape yarn fabrics laminated from both sides are used as a aquaculture liners. Sealing sheets are somewhat same to that of aquaculture liner. The application is only difference. Sealing sheets are used to prevent the seepage of water, and aquaculture is also used to control the seepage of water, but they are used for the fishing activity, and they are used for the conservation of water. Now, another application is a flexible tank. Now, nowadays, if we want water tanks, we think upon the rigid tanks, plastic rigid tanks we think about. But if we can have same quality of tanks which are flexible also, it will be a added advantage in that. To get that added advantage, we can use agro textiles which are flexible, which are allowing us to store water, transport that to a desired location, and get supply of water as per the required location. And after that water is discharged there, we can even fold that tank and take it back to the location from where we used to take a water. So this is the added advantage of flexible tank. They are made up of we can say high strength HDP filament yarn, and they are coated with PVC, polyvinyl chloride. Now, another application of agrotextile products is the packaging material. We can use agrotextile for packaging, various kinds of packagings. Here we can see the pallet covers. Apart from that, we can have tubular packaging nets, onion nets. Then our grains are packed. Conventional packaging material is a jute bag. Nowadays, we are using tape yarn, circular woven tape yarn fabrics for the packaging purpose. So all of them are the agrotextile products. Now, if we come after seeing all these examples of agrotextiles, if we try to cover the important properties required in agrotextiles, we will found that the weather resistance is required in the agrotextile. It should be resistant to microorganisms, because lots of microorganisms may come in contact with agrotextiles. It should have a stable construction. It should not get extended due to the applied load or changing atmospheric conditions. It should be lightweight, as agrotextiles are used in large quantity. Its area is very, very high. So we need to use agrotextiles which are in lightweight. It should be resistant to solar radiation, as these textile materials are used in outdoor application. So it has to sustain the solar rays, solar radiation, ultraviolet radiation. It should sustain the ultraviolet radiations also. It should give a long service life, as the end consumer of the agrotextile products are farmers. They are expecting these agrotextile products to be serviceable for a period of say 5 to 7 years. Then the next requirement is biodegradability, as the amount of agrotextile products are used in a huge size. So it should be biodegradable, otherwise it will pollute our environment. Then it should have a property of water conservation or water sealing. If we think upon the application like mulch mat, it should have a water conservation property, sealing sheet. So this is also a required property. And by considering all these required properties, we can say man-made fibers are best suitable for agricultural application, apart from some natural fibers like jute and wool fibers are somewhere used in agricultural application. But the man-made fiber, in that man-made fiber again, polypropylene and polyethylene are mostly used due to its favorable properties to the agrotextiles. Now here we can see the application of agrotextile, the application named as fruit reddening fabrics. In this picture, we can see a fabric which is placed in between two rows of plants. The function of this fabric is to increase the intensity of light in this region. Okay. The color of fruits are depend upon how much they are in contact or how much the intensity of light is available for that particular fruit. Now, these reflecting fabrics are used to reflect the light which is best. Suppose there is a sunlight which is falling on a plant, and at the same time sunlight is falling on a ground also. So the light which is fall on the plants are consumed or used by the plant for photosynthesis, or say the targeted purpose, that is the fruit reddening. But when the light is falling on the ground, it is of no use, or we can say that light is giving us an adverse effect, that is reducing the moisture level in a soil, that light is reducing the nutrients inside the soil, that light is responsible for growing of grass which is not required. So instead of that, if we go with this kind of fabrics, white colored reflective fabrics, that light is reflected back and it will fall on the plants. So because of that reflected light, plants growth is again get rise, and this reflected light is used by the fruits for improving its color. So that's why the application is referred as a fruit reddening fabrics. Then what are the advantages we get from these kind of fruit reddening fabrics? We get improved color, we get improved size of fruits, we get improved sweetness of a fruits. So these are the advantages with the help of that fruit reddening fabrics. Where we can use it? We can use this fruit reddening fabric in the regions where the intensity of sunlight is less than the required sunlight intensity for the effective reddening of fruits. If our fruits are not effectively get red, they remain in a green color. Obviously, if we go for selling it in a market, we do not get the same price that we are getting for the red color fruits. So that is the we can say need of this type of fabrics. If we use these fabrics, our fruits are become more red, their size is also get increased, sweetness of fruits are also get improved. Now, what are the factors to be considered while using these fruit reddening fabrics? We need to select a proper timing, at what time these fruit reddening fabrics is to be installed. Then pattern of installation. We have already discussed that we can use a fruit reddening fabrics. We can use a fruit reddening fabrics, or we can use an agro textiles to control the seasonal limitation. We can control the seasonal limitations. If we go with this pattern installation, we can go for the fruit ripening of particular area of a farm, and remaining area will be get ripened after a certain period of time. Then fabric leveling. Fabric leveling is also important. If these fabrics are not properly leveled, we do not get the required reflectance of sunlight, and thus the purpose of fruit reddening is not get achieved. Now, what are the manufacturers of agro textiles? Here I have listed some manufacturers of different agro textile products. Apart from this, we have many agro textile manufacturers. Just I have listed some of them. These are the machinery manufacturers on which we can manufacture the agro textile products. Now, let us move towards the challenges. What are the various challenges in India, or we can say for the agro textile growth in our country? The first important challenge is the high capital investment. We, as a agricultural country, most of the farmers are getting income very low. So they are thinking upon the products which are in their budget. So we found that most of the agro textile products have their cost more. And another challenge is the lack of awareness. Our farmers are not that much aware about the benefits of agro textile. So that's why they are not utilizing it. If we see the solutions for that challenges, we can reduce the cost of agro textile products by rising production rate, or we can say controlling the production cost. If we see the cost of polymer chips, the cost of polymer chips is in the range of 50 to 100 rupees per kg, whereas the cost of these green nets in per square meters is in the range of 25 to 40 rupees per meter square. Now, if we take the GSM of fabric is around 100, so the cost of this fabric is around 4,000 rupees per kg, whereas the raw material cost is around 100 rupees. Now, there is a lots of margin where we can work. If we have a competition in the production of agro-textile products, certainly the cost of these agro-textile products will get reduced, and the problem of high capital investment by the farmers particularly is avoided. And another thing is improvement in the awareness about the agro-textiles. Government is taking many efforts. Then institute should also take the efforts for the awareness of agro-textiles, and ultimately the benefit will be come to us as a textile engineer. We will have more opportunities for our students to be a part of agro-textile or any technical textile industry and get more satisfaction in this form. So with this, I would like to thank you. Stop here. If we have any questions, let us take it. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Sujit, for such a nice presentation on agro textile and its application. So I ask participants if they have any questions, they can raise their hands or you can raise your hands so that I can unmute you. Because right now,
Hear you. Hello.
hello.
Recording in progress.
Yeah, Sujit. I'm trying to get it connected with my computer.
Sir, are you able to hear me? I am not able to hear you.
Yes, I can hear you. And because of the internet connectivity, I was not able to unmute all the participants. Now, participants, they can unmute themselves. If they have any questions, they can ask.
Our associate dean, Dr. Arup Bakshi sir, is also with us. I would like to hear something from him. Please, sir.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Yeah, I am relatively new to you, sir. If you can introduce yourself. Myself, Arup Kumar Rakshit, from Mumbai, basically from Mumbai. And I have joined this center for last 6 months roughly, from October 2021. I'm associated with the textile and academics, mainly academics and research for the last 40 years roughly. My major locations of service was in MLVTI Mumbai, the Sasmira Mumbai for industrial research. And I started my career with Kanpur Institution of, which is GCTTE now. And I'm familiar with Bhilwara institution as well. My old colleagues had been heading this particular institution for quite some time. S.K. Sharma from TIT Bhiwani, long back, and G.K. Tyagi on recent times.
Yes, sir.
Am I right? For both the persons, if I have taken the names correctly, please.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Both of them, they were our
Director.
head of the institution
Head of the
for a long
institution
time.
there.
But right now, Dr. Dhirendra Sharma, you must
Yeah.
be knowing
Yeah.
him. So he is our principal.
And yeah, and I'm pretty happy that first thing that you have given an opportunity for our faculty member to be a part of the faculty development program of your institute. Yesterday, when he intimated me, I was really elated to understand that, okay, first thing is that it's excellent that you have given credibility to Mr. Gulhane to present a certain topic for the faculty development programs. Secondly, that MLVTI is regularly arranging FDPs, which is a very important part of the whole story of our development overall. So with all these things, definitely I appreciate the approach of MLVTI to invite our people, and hope that the presentation was good and you had benefited and the faculty members have benefited nicely. Please give your feedback to Sujit, sir. And I appreciate once again, thank you very much for everything. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for your comment, sir.
Sir, I would like to take some questions if participants have, or I would like to ask some questions to participants. Yeah, we have different colors in a Shaed Nets. We have different colors in a Shaed Nets. Can anybody tell what are the importance of colors in a Shaed Nets? Different types of or different colors of Shaed Nets are available in the market. All of them have very specific functions. Suppose, yeah, it is used to control the intensity of light, or it is used to control the light in the farming region. If we go with the transparent, it will allow more amount of light, so it is better for the plants which require more light. If we go with the green nets, they are used to reduce the intensity of light. Green nets are used for the shading factors more than 75%. We used to see in a market, there are nets which are in red and yellow colors also. Red and yellow color green nets, we can say shading nets, are used to enhance the growth rate of a plants, because these green, yellow and red shade nets are used to enhance the wavelength of a light, and they will improve the growth of a plants. On the other side, if we use blue color shade nets, they are used to control the growth of plant. So if the plant is get growth, say in a span of 3 months, the plant will require to grow for its complete growth 4 months. So we can expand its time of growing. And if we go with the gray color shade net, the plants will grow instead of vertically, they will grow in a horizontal manner. So we can say more bushy kind of farming is possible with the help of gray color nets. And in case of silver color nets, we used to have silver color nets also. They will use to improve the intensity of light in particular zone, like a mirror. If we use mirror, it will reflect the light. So in shade, you can say in various types of shade, these silver color nets are used to reflect the light in particular zone of a farm. So these are the idea behind utilization of various colors in a shade nets. Is there any question? I'm waiting for the questions from the audience. Okay, once again, I would like to thank the organizers for inviting me in this program and giving me such a nice platform to share my views upon the agro textile. And I'm equally thankful to our institute, especially our beloved Dr. Arup Rakshit sir, Associate Dean sir, to allow me to participate in this program. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Sujit, and thank you, Dr. Arup, that you have allowed him to present his presentation in our faculty development program. And we need your help in future also.
Yes, sir. You
So
keep
please
doing,
be-
we are always there with you, and vice versa.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
So now I request